the red Protoss player, the de facto #1 USA StarCraft player of all time ever. He is Mcanning.
Mcanning is open. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I got distracted by a shirt. That's all I'm gonna say. I was gonna ask you if you know what Ohana means.
Ohana?
What does Ohana mean, Kevin?
Ohano or Ohana?
I think it's Ohana. I think his shirt just says Ohana, right?
I believe that Ohana means family. I believe that Mr. Bitter made a career out of that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Love it. That's okay. I got what I wanted. You can do your smart analysis. I'll stop being dumb for a second.
Well, Mcanning did open up with the Worker Scout, and I'm quite happy to see that. But obviously, this is still a bit scary if you're a Protoss. You're like, what do I really make out of this? Now, the SV is going to show up as well in the natural, and Future is going to see, it's like, all right, he's really respecting the proxy barracks. The spray meta in NA has really been on point over the last few playdays, and that's apparently continuing tonight. But this is a great scout for Mcanning in the main base. Getting the confirmation that the factory is being built at home, I feel like that's going to give you a very comfortable peace and state of mind. The only bad thing right now is that he still doesn't have an expand. And I believe against any factory at home, Nate, you want to have that Nexus already going strong.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because you know that there is going to be more pressure coming up than this, right? The Terran player never really just sends one Reaper, you know? We can see that he's building a second one. He's going to probably try to rally that in, do a good amount of harass with that, bring as much pressure as possible. But the factory follow-up gets scary too, because it can still be any number of the standard Terran options, right? You could still go for a mine drop. You could get a tech lab and go into Cyclones, try to bring pressure. You can proxy the starport now that the factory is done, right? If you're Mcanning, you don't know 100% what direction the game is going to go in. So he drops a pylon on the natural to prevent him from building on location. Sees the tech lab. That's also very important, because that's going to say, well, it's probably not going to be a mine drop, right? It's probably not going to be Hellions. And the command center building inside of the main base also says he's dialing this back. He's building the Cyclone probably a little bit more defensively than anything else. Of course, 2 Reapers and or maybe just 1 Reaper left. And a Cyclone can put on a lot of pressure, right? You can take the middle of the map until, you know, Blink or something is done like that if you have a good position to hold with the Cyclone's lock on.
Yeah, I am still a little bit sad for Mcanning that he didn't just go for the 1 gate fast expand and like, let's just see what happens. Let's take the game from there and maybe believe in battery overcharge to save the day if he was facing a 1 base build. Future is obviously perfectly capable of going for one of those big 1 base all-ins with Marines, tanks, and maybe then a Liberator in the mix as well. Because right now I just feel that Mcanning's economy is so much weaker than any Protoss economy is supposed to be. And he is at least following this up with the Twilight. That's going to give him access to Blink Stalkers, and maybe he's going to follow that up with Charge. But I'm a bit worried, Nate, because I feel that Future got exactly what he wanted. He managed to grab 2 probes so far, and above all, he delayed that Nexus by a ton.
Yeah, that's always going to be what you want to do, right? Delay the Nexus, keep the Protoss economy down. If the Terran's on an even economic keel with Protoss, it's always going to favor them because of the mules. So if that toss can't get that fast Nexus, if you can't get the fast third, you know, it kind of has a snowball effect. And with the siege tanks being built, we know that this map is a very good map for those tank pushes. Third bases, not so much. And as you were saying, if there's a Terran player who is more than happy with doing big 2 base plays, it is definitely Future. So I'm expecting to see Stim startup, combat shield +1, and then when those upgrades get close to finishing, I'm just fully expecting Future to go for a massive 2 base push. Although he does not have to, but that's, you know, I feel like given everything that we've seen so far, those are the threads unraveling in front of me.
No, I'm totally with you. Also, the reputation, right? Taking that into mind. Future loves to be aggressive on 2 bases. Doesn't even have to be an SCV pool, but it could be a 5 Rex opening, and that's already going to give him some very serious firepower with his openings. We'll keep a close eye on it. Future is actually getting a missile turret right now, so maybe he's a little bit worried about them Mcanning opening up with a couple of cheeky DTs. We know that that's not happening, but that's fun to see. So Future definitely worried about things here, Nick.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? I mean, he's showing some respect to the can over here. He's saying, well, if there's one thing that I know that Mcanning's really good with, it's disruptors. But then the other thing is Dark Templar, right? We've seen Mcanning win many games off the back of his DT control, which, as far as I'm aware, literally nobody rivals. He is just at the top of that game. So that's not what's coming this game, though. He's not going to have to worry about that. But I kind of like this little Reaper, like, kind of shove in the middle. Loses one, but I don't mind, like, trying to have that awareness of if your opponent's, like, going to attack you, right? If there's a prism outside or a gateway being warped in.
You know, Nate.
And just send it.
Just send it. Once upon a time, Justin Bieber's Baby music video was the most watched video on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
That stopped when Mcanning made a guide on how to control disruptors. That is how popular
True.
Mcanning anti-disruptor control is. Justin Bieber even sent him a DM about it. It's like, Mcanning, that's really not all that cool. You know what happened? Mcanning took Selena Gomez away from Justin Bieber. He's still tweeting at her every single day. It's pretty crazy what the can make happen.
And guess what? Selena Gomez just put out a big combo piece with a big K-pop group, all right? She's crushing it right now. Mcanning's crushing it right now, all right? And that's all anybody needs to know.
Coincidence?
Absolutely dominant.
I think not.
No. You thought Gangnam Style was popular? Those guys had a huge fight with Mcanning over that, but they couldn't overtake him. They tried. They failed.
All right, guys. This is the first serious attack, of course, coming out of Future with 2 tanks as well. The Zealot count currently is at 9, Nate. And 9 is decent, but those are not the overwhelming Zealot numbers we want. Purification Nova is going to whiff, but at least it's going to push his Terran army away. That gateway is going to be unpowered for a while. The Cyber Core might go down. But hey, if I'm Mcanning, I'm not even sweating this that much. Get another pylon up. Just swap in a few more Zealots, because eventually Mcanning can take care of this army.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, I don't know how he spotted it, but there is a mine under each of those tanks. So he was basically saying, yeah, blink on my tanks. Try, bro. Just try to blink on my siege tanks. And he's still kind of being pushed away from that, but the Disruptor's going to get rid of both Widow Mines. That's really nice, especially if he decides to push in with the Zealots. And here we go, another big warp, and 5 of them coming in. He lost the Twilight Council, though. He lost the Cybernetic Squirts, coming back again. But can he stop this army, Roddy?
Yep, well, Zealots are getting on top of the tank right now. Mcanning was setting up that sandwich a while ago, so at least the tanks are taken care of. We need a few more Zealots in the main base, though. Or Purification Nova, that's all good as well. Mcanning holds. Sure, he lost some tech, he lost the pylon. But Nate, Future went 5 racks before dropping that 3rd command center, so I don't hate this. If Mcanning can just spend his money, I would say get a couple of observers out, but he actually has 2 observers out, so that's decent. Not bad. He weathers the storm for now.
I feel like Future kills a lot of Protoss players with that move out whenever he gets a game on this map, right? But Mcanning, he is showing the experience, the expertise, bringing it out. Of course, it's not going to get easier. He's trying to move into double forge. He wants the upgrades. He wants to power those units up even more than they already are. Of course, the Disruptors don't need those upgrades in his hands. Zealots will benefit. Careful with that ramp. He's going to take the 1 Marine with the Disruptor. He has 2 more available.
1 more. I'm a bit worried because all of the Stalkers are still in the main base, but just Zealots are only going to get kited over here. That is the last Nova for now, but I do believe one of them is going to be available again real soon.
Another Disruptor just popped as well.
4 Disruptors. The only thing that, Nate, I'm a bit afraid, how does Mcanning force the fight? I feel like he can't really force the fight. He's got a very A-movie army right now, other than a couple of Novas, and that just seems like a very difficult time to get a good engagement against Future.
He needs to, I think that like you need to try to find that window to throw a prism around the side. You want to pull your opponent home and then let the Disruptors do their thing, which is zoning. But when you're zoning defensively, your opponent is just waiting for that window to jump in. Big chance, but no dice. Very dangerous plays and moves being made too. Widowmine trying to burrow by that mineral line. And Disruptor takes out 1 of them.
That's a pretty decent mine shot. Kills a unit, activates the barrier as well on the Immortal. But hey, Mcanning still alive on 3 bases. Obviously, the pressure is getting to him a little bit, Nate. He hasn't been building probes for quite some time, and that is becoming a bit problematic. And it really does feel that Future has Mcanning pinned to his side of the map. No space for a prism, no Zealot run-bys happening at this point.
Yeah, as a Terran, few things feel better than being able to plop down that sensor tower because you've got the money for it, but also just knowing, hey, my opponent doesn't really have anything over. I haven't been hit by an Oracle. I haven't been hit by a Prism. No charge lot run-bys, no DTs sliding into the DMs on the natural. He's been very, very, very comfortably out on the map and not been punished for it whatsoever. It's just been probably the hardest part of this game. Once he moved out, he never really sent everything home.
I mean, Mcanning still has plenty of units in his main base to deal with the potential drop. He's still keeping the buy units at bay. Obviously, this is not a comfortable spot to be in because there's just nothing happening on the side of the map for Future right now. But hey, we went over this. If Mcanning can get a couple of Disruptors and a couple of Colossus out, then I do absolutely believe in his chances to win these kinds of games. He's not there yet, Nate, but I feel like he's getting pretty close because 167 supply, that looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of trying to push that army away. We do finally have an Mcanning Dark Templar inside of the main and the natural, so he's trying to get a little bit of work done, trying to claw some grasp of this game. And a scan in the bottom right corner, by the way. He's looking for a ninja base. The army gets dived on at the exact same time, though, so putting on that pressure. And as you said, he needs the Stalkers, though, to help zone away. A lot of SCVs.
Yep, I mean, these are the kinds of games that Future doesn't like to play in general. He likes to be in the face of Protoss. He doesn't want to be defending against stuff at home. That one Dark Templar is going absolutely mental in the main base. 14 kills already on that bad boy. And once again, Future is not transitioning, Nate. There is no Ghost Academy. There is no Liberators with advanced ballistics. I feel like Mcanning has done it. He truly has stabilized. He may not have the sickest economy, but it's good for now. Right when I say that, though, big drop in the main base, but Mcanning has units nearby.
No energy for a recall to pull them straight in, but they'll come up from the natural. We'll lose a good amount of probes. A pretty significant number of pylons are going there too. He's able to get one of the full medevacs going for two. It barely slips away.
That's so close. I mean, at the same time, I'm getting now confident enough to move his army all the way down the left side of this map. There are still a couple of Novas available. Stalkers blink forward on top of the center tower.
Aye. Dangerous plays being made here, Kevin. Dangerous plays.
Look at the
I like that.
Running through the town army.
Love those Mcanning guts. Love it. Absolutely love it. America's champ right here, ladies and gentlemen. He's getting into the natural again with the DT. Hacking and whacking and smacking, chopping that meat. 11 SCVs taken down. Up to 12 in the last minute. And I mean, it's not like Mcanning's exactly rich himself, though, right? He needs to get that fourth up. He's actually still behind on workers, despite the amount that he's killed. So by no means is this one in the bag.
Okay, he's behind in workers, but he's heavily ahead in quality when it comes to the army, right? He's got 4 Colossi, 5 Disruptors against 35 Marauders and 31 Marines. Like, Future has just bio units, and normally you don't beat these kinds of Protoss armies with just bio units. Not even EMPs available. How often do we say that? That the Terran player is maxed out, but there are no EMPs available.
He's going to bring the army back as he sees that Northwest Nexus get killed. I was kind of wondering whether or not he would try to make a big push, but I guess I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, go for one of those big attacks and then try to recall back, try to force a bit of a base trade. But he's got that massive army and trying to engage with this choke. I mean, that's a Disruptor's dream.
Nate, Dark Templars are still just casually strolling through the natural and then stay in the natural or going to the main base. But they're starting to get a proper amount of kills. This is just not a fight that I think Future can ever win. There are too many Novas available. There are no Vikings to deal with these Colossi. And the Dark Templars, they're really going ham right now. Natural again as well. 23 kills. The Bio Army's got in a really awkward spot. Marauders are going to try to get, I guess, on top of the Colossus. But Mcanning, I feel like he's just doing it again, Nate.
Unbelievable. This is a really good spread from Future's army, though. The Marauders are getting into good positions. He needs to land a few more Disruptor shots to keep this army away, and he's done it. Mcanning takes game number 1.
Mcanning doesn't stop. Takes the lead in this series.
An eyebrow raise.
An amazing job in the first, like, 6-7 minutes of the game. I mean, there was that push. The tanks were in a gnarly position, but it wasn't that bad. And I love that Mcanning didn't lose his patience. It's like, oh no, there's a Terran army in my front door. I gotta go for it. It's like, no, you take that pylon, take the gate, take the cyber core. I'm gonna wait until I have more gateway units out, and eventually I'll deal with it. And by the time he did, Nate, I feel like he was always in a pretty decent spot. Very well done.
That was awesome. That was awesome. You know, that's the coolest part about all of this stuff is we're seeing some players that we normally get to meme and joke about make really sick plays. The way that he handled that, you know, I feel like so many Protoss players would just suicide their army into the siege tanks and the mines when he sieges up on your tech, right? You're like, I don't want to lose my Cyber Core. I don't want to lose my Twilight Council. Let's just dive on it and lose. But Mcanning, the uncrowned king of disruptors, keeping his composure, waiting for the Zealots to come in with the flank to grab that army in the main. He says, the Cybernetics Core, I'm fine to build another. Twilight Council, fine to build another. If it's going to make me win the game, hell yeah. And I don't have anything else to say, but that game was nothing short of incredible. He withstood an endless onslaught of Terran attacks and managed to build up, as you said, a much higher quality army.
Yeah.
If you just have Marines and Marauders and you're trying to fight, what was it? Was it 5 Colossi and like 6 Disruptors? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Nothing. You're gonna stim and run, and that's just not a way to fight. Because every time you run away from a Nova, well, guess what? There are 4 G-Rubs in the back of the Protoss army that have 9 range, and they will keep firing. Your bio units are not firing. That's simply not a fight you can win. And of course, that's not the right way to play. But Future is just not comfortable, I guess, going into Ghosts, going into Liberators. So he wants to win games with brute force. But he couldn't make this man crumble in game 1. He has taken the 1-0 lead. The sensation of DreamHack Masters Fall North America so far is Mcanning.
Based God. His opponent in the bottom left, the blue, a Terran player. I mean, another guy's been doing really well, but having a hard time against this dude. He is Future. Alpha X.
Well, Nate, you say he's been doing really well, and I love to agree with you, mate, but I'm actually a bit disappointed in Future this season, and the reason is that I think very highly of him. I think Future is such a talented player, and he really was on the up and up, like a proper rise. Of course, won HE Philadelphia once upon a time. To see him finish in 4th position in Group B with a 4-win, 3-loss record, I'm just like, I mean, that's not really it for me. I expect better things out of Future because I rate him very high. To put things in perspective, when we had the previous season, the DreamHack Masters Summer, he had a much better performance in the group. Back then, Future was able to go 6-1, and then obviously made it into the playoffs and even defeated Scarlet in the first round of those playoffs. To go from that to like a 4-3 and start off in the lower bracket, I don't know. I find it a bit disappointing.
Well, when you put it like that, yeah, no, that's. I guess part of the problem is the expectations have been raised, right? He isn't the up and coming player anymore. He was one of the best NA players that we had last season. So, I guess I found myself. I guess you're kind of changing my mind on this though. You're right. Like, why is he in the lower round of this bracket, right? Like, what's going on over here? But I guess I didn't really believe that myself because I think Estrella is the best NA player by a mile, but. I'm interested.
Well, Neep, come on. Mate, you were sleeping on Neep.
I am one of Neep's biggest cheerleaders, Kevin. I am on the Estrella hype train. I'm not gonna.
That is a good train. That's a good train.
I'm not gonna try to explain it with logic because I understand. As a fan of bad sports teams, I understand that me believing that they are better than they actually are is a symptom of my fandom. I am a fan of Estrella. Yeah. I think he's going to be. I think he could win this tournament. I do not think that he is a massive underdog to a guy like Neep, I guess is what I'm really trying to say.
Okay, well, that's definitely not a crazy thing to say, Nate. And the Australia hype train is an excellent hype train to be on. Australia is awesome, and you could very well say that he is a top 2 player in this tournament. But yeah, I do feel like we get a little bit carried away to put him above Neep, especially when Neep put on such a clinic in DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Summer. Like the way that he played some of those late game PvPs against Australia as well. It was marvelous, and I feel that Neep deserves all the credit for those games.
For sure, 100% for sure. You know, Neep is just, we expect Neep to be at the top, but I'm very taken by that. Same way that my mind's been blown because I actually have not really been able to cast many of the Mcanning matches that have happened this season. He's been playing out of his freaking mind. He's been playing the best StarCraft I think we've ever seen from Mcanning.
Yep, and to go full Mcanning for a split second, just what I love about the can, you know. He knows Roddy is casting, he knows Roddy is watching. He's like, you know what? I don't just want to please the fans. I want to please the casters as well. I'll give Roddy some Phoenixes, and I'm happy to see it, Nate. I am a little bit worried that he is not aware of the fact that this is not going to be a regular mine opening, but this is actually going to be a cloaked Widow mine opening because there is an armory proxied in the bottom right side of the map.
What the?
Oh,
what is?
What? Okay. All right.
What?
There's no mines at all. Oh, it's not a mine opening.
Okay. Well,
door opening. Actually really good against Phoenixes though. This is good stuff against Phoenixes. I actually love this from Future. It's crazy, it's wild, it's NA, but I love it.
Crazy is a very good way to describe this. But you know what? The one thing that is nice about the fact that he's going for the Thor is he has the tech lab on his factory to get drilling claws, since he did open with the proxied armory. So at the very least, there's no hiding what you're doing when you see a Thor at 4 minutes, though. Like he's going to be like, yes, there is an armory. If he doesn't see it in the main base, he'll realize it somewhere else, but he's hidden it. He's going to drop because the Phoenix can't do anything. If he gets it in his base, it's just going to right click on probes. Is that the strategy here?
I don't know. No,
am I on crazy pills?
Yeah, you are. He's just hiding it, Nate. Come on.
Okay,
there's no freaking way.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Can a shield battery out DPS a Thor versus probes?
I don't. Honestly, what you're saying, like I'm thinking of it, and I was like, yes, that sounds like the sickest thing ever. But he's not gonna do that. He's actually just going to push to the other side of the map. Mcanning has still not really seen that. What he has seen is a lot of Marines. He's probably looking and it's like, okay, a lot of Marines, SCVs as well, and now Mcanning sees that medevac is indeed carrying a Thor. Nate, the insane thing is that there is a third command center as well. So this is just a casual 2-base Thor pressure into 3 command centers. Like, what are we watching?
What the hell do you do against? No one does this. This isn't a thing. It's not a thing. It's well, the Immortal will be nice, but the Immortal won't win on its own.
Do we
the
get
Immortal
Bunkus?
I hope so. He killed the Observer. He might as well. He does have a decent amount of units. The Zealots are really important to helping to deal with the Marines.
Oh, 2 Thors!
Everything else. Oh, God. Here we go. Okay. Well, this is officially one of the weirdest things I've seen in StarCraft. You know, I get to say this, and this is the most cliche thing that we say as StarCraft casters, but I get to say this at least once every tournament. I ain't seen this before. People are always doing new stuff in StarCraft, and that is one of my favorite things about the game, because holy crap, I've not seen someone attempt this, and I don't know if he would have won with the attack, but I wanted to see him try just to see what the hell would happen. But he says, I don't want to risk it because he does have that 3rd CC coming.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, this was perfect, right? Because now Future is actually the one who's going to be on 3 bases, while Mcanning has only just started to warp in his Nexus. And these Phoenixes are having the absolute hardest time finding an opening anywhere because the range on those things is pretty insane. Like, I love it. I love the way that Future played it. It's like a Thor pressure build into macro. Like, things I've never said before.
If you think about it, it makes sense, right? Like, what would you do if someone dropped 2 Thors in your base and all you have is like 6 Stalkers, right? They just hold position them and kill the probes if you blink away. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not even that many Phoenix. I was waiting to see him try to do some Thor drop harass or something even crazier.
That'd be insane, but that'd also be very risky. And I feel like in this way, Future kind of got done what he was looking for. Maybe I would have liked to see him build 1 bunker and stick around a little bit longer, just to keep that contain going. But obviously, the longer you stick around, the more likely is it that eventually those units won't make their way home safely anymore. So I think this was really good. I think it got Future ahead in the game, but we also know that Future shines a lot more in the shorter games, in the early mid game, than he does with maxed out armies. So in that way, Nate, I'm still a tiny bit worried. I think we're going to get Thor rush. Oh my god. He's going to arrest with the Thors.
Dropping Thors on your Zealot. Yeah. This right here, man. This is the movie.
No, you need to get out of here. Come on.
Yeah. That would be crazy. He's like, I'm gonna lose my Thors. I do wonder though. I don't know. There's not a tremendous number of Phoenix. In the single target mode, you can do some hits on those Colossi though. It's got 11 range on those bad boys. But I will tell you another unit that really, really makes Thors miserable. As a mech player, I'll tell you, I know disruptors are very good against Thors. Although he's going to have medevacs to move them around. So I guess I've never tried using medevacs when I play mech, but so like, I don't know. Maybe this is the secret. Maybe this is the key.
I think the tanks are going to be very important there, right? I think the point of the entire build that Future is aiming for is that obviously the Thors can protect the tanks so they won't get lifted. And then the tanks should hopefully get the job done to keep the disruptors at bay. I got to say, I expected a lot of things from this best of 5. This is not one of them. Legit never seen it. Love to see it, but also a bit worried because if Mcanning, once again, if he gets 5 or 6 disruptors out, then I'm not sure if Future really can get what he's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we just need the Mcanning skin set for the disruptors where they look like the Infinity Stones. And then once he gets all of them, right, that's it, right? He's got the really good late game army control. And I think he illustrated that beautifully in map number 1 of this series, and now we've got DTs in his base again. He doesn't even use a prism. Kevin,
I know.
He just right clicks on the mineral line and nothing shoots them.
It's pretty insane. This happened 5 times on Pillars of Gold, where 2 DTs, even though like all the depots were raised besides 1, so one of them just has to travel all the way through the mineral line, up the ramp into the main base. They just casually stroll across a million bio units that pop out of a barracks, and they keep finding their way into the bases.
It's absurd. That's what it is, Kevin. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to it. It's madness. Is he gonna do it? Is this it? This is it. He's gonna drop 3 Thors inside of his opponent's base. No?
Well, maybe.
He's be careful with the Phoenix.
This doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
well,
like
think
it.
about it this way. You can't just warp in 6 Zealots to deal with 3 Thors, right? So he wants to move his army on the west side while he drops the Thors, and it's like it kind of serves the same role as like a battle cruiser, right? You're saying you need more than the bare minimum to defend this type of harassment.
I hope he has a scan available because there's still DTs. There's no scan available right now. Why would he drop? Okay, there's 1 scan. You need to scan. You need to scan. Future. I don't really get this at all, man. This is very underwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, this is the knockoff top part. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's just. I was so excited, but then it was as disappointing as I feared it could be.
Why wouldn't you keep them with the army? They're not bad. They're very tanky. You can keep your bio units safe behind the Thors. They can obviously keep Phoenixes at bay to make sure that your tanks can siege up. I don't know. I don't know what Future is doing. I love the initial move out. I thought it was very smart. But right now, I feel like we've been watching a man dig his own grave for the last 4 minutes.
Do you think he's just nervous playing against Mcanning?
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
What I do know is that it's looking really bad because in these kinds of games, I really favor Mcanning over Future.
Look
There's a lot of
easy ass. Oh my God, they're right on the. Okay, well, he's not gonna do that much there. Gets the tanks though with the disruptors, a couple of them.
Yeah, but it's still gonna be very hard to chase that army. Mcanning is feeling pretty good. He's sitting at 79 probes, and sure, Future is sitting on 4 bases as well. He is getting enhanced shockwaves. He is starting +3, but I'm not really feeling his army, Nate. Like, there's no second starport, obviously no fusion core for advanced ballistics.
Mcanning's army looks incredible. You called this the last game, but he's not really advanced the tech. Even advanced shockwaves is not going to guarantee you anything because it's all about the disruptors. And he's got so much defense out here. He's got the towers. He's been doing a really good job with keeping them vision and the map control.
All right.
6 ghosts are being built at once. That's about the only other thing I know to say.
Yep. I mean, that's obviously going to make his army a lot better, but it does feel that he's still looking to find a successful drop somewhere. I think maybe a triple or quad drop in the natural can definitely spice things up. We do know that Future has great multitasking. Mcanning is going to keep rallying DTs into the natural because that
keeps
seems
working,
to be...
so.
Yeah, I know. Really can't blame him for it. I got to say, well done by Future here, getting his army in a pretty good position. And he is setting up for that big drop in the natural. Mcanning is aware of it. A storm does land, and Love Zealots are here as well.
What? He was so ready for this. And their main army is still up there, ready to kind of zone this out. The tanks aren't close enough to force him to do anything. He just has to chill here. And then if he sees Future try to encroach, he throws that. The bunker. He's left a bunker in his natural to deal with those Dark Temples. He's such a thorn in his side.
Future is going to take control of the Zalnaga Watchtower, which I think is very important. If he wants to find some success with his drops, he needs to take vision away. Because if Protoss can see the drops coming way in advance, then all of a sudden it becomes easier. I do like this idea, actually. Future scans his base. He's like, wait a minute, all of your units are in the left top. They're going to engage my tanks. Well, it is what it is. Future is finally taking out a base, but Nate, a ghost is rallied into the army as well. A lot of tanks did go down. And like losing a Nexi sucks, but Mcanning is pretty damn rich.
Look how many DTs are in there too to help push that bio away. He's forced to do the load up and get the hell out of there. But killing the Nexus is something though. I will say all the tanks that were killed The siege tanks seem to be the key piece here, because if he doesn't want to build liberators, the tanks are the only thing between him and Mcanning's disruptors.
Yep, one tank is just left behind. Dark Templar is going to get on top of that. And that tank will go down as well. Future needs a better army. That's just what it is. Like right now, his army is not good enough to ever win a fight. Like how do you win a fight against this many storms? Maybe the best EMPs ever, but how do you avoid all the Novas, deal with reinforcements as well? I don't see it. The man needs an extra starport, he needs a fusion core, or he needs another factory and a whole bunch of tanks.
He did get at least a second factory I saw on the building tab, but I'm not 100% sure. He hasn't started the production on 2 at a time, but that's really what he needs though. He needs a stupid amount of tanks, but then the Zealots and DTs get stronger, and he's still throwing these guys around. He has Shadow Stride, so the Dark Templar are able to blink across the areas where the detection and the defenses are set up as he jukes over to that third base, and he's going to start cutting down SCVs again. And look at this DT hit squad. Oh my God. I'd love to see him just blink onto the ghosts. I don't know why.
Or the bunker. Get down the bunker. Why the hell not? I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeet. And those are all gonna die. So you get the missile turret. The SCV's here. Super dead. Mcanning DTs.
There are DTs everywhere. For some reason, the command center was flying into the Protoss army. I have no idea what that was all about. But without it really even feeling a proper fight, Future just lost like 50 supply, and he's gonna end up losing a base as well. There were a couple of units getting sliced up by DTs. He flies 2 full medevacs into the 4th base of Mcanning. Sorry, Observer, but there were like 3 cannons, 2 batteries, 2 Eye Templars, and 5 Stalkers, 2 medevacs full of Bionate. Just flew into it, died.
Yeah, this one's looking pretty bad for Future. His insistence on never teching up is pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. If you're playing someone who likes to play standard, then I can see how this works. But Mcanning takes such a cerebral approach to his StarCraft methodology that it doesn't seem like it can be cracked by brute strength.
Well, that second factory will get picked off. A whole bunch of disruptors still here in the mix. There are so many DTs ready to jump on a command center at the bottom. I thought it was going to be a planetary fortress. It's not. It's just a command center. That means it can lift. I guess that is good news for Future, but that's about the only good news in this game, Nate. He's down 35 workers. He's nowhere near maxed out, and he's still just building Marauders, and that's just not going to do it.
No, it's not. It is not. And he's going into air. He's got 3 Stargates. He's got the fleet bacon. He's getting the shield upgrades. We might see him just go into freaking carriers to end this, because, you know, there's a pretty ludicrous number of Marauders and tanks on the map. So he's like, I've forced you to build all this to deal with my disruptors. And then, you know, the next step becomes borderline impossible to stop, if he can even stop the first step here.
No, I don't think he can. His army is just not good enough. Mcanning is having an insanely good time here, firing Novas forward one at a time, and the Marauders only stimming away. Maybe this is the moment Future feels that all the disruptors are on cooldown. It seems like they are, but he needs to clean up this entire army without losing much. Novas! Actually, one of them does blow up the majority of the army.
Oh, no. Well, there you go. Mcanning up 2-0. The People's Champ strikes again, Rotterdam. And, man, well, 2-0 for Mcanning looks pretty good. You know what looks even better? Yourself after getting a drink, okay? Because I know I've been sweating bullets watching that game. We'll be right back after this short break. Well, it has been a hell of a day of StarCraft action, ladies and gentlemen, here at the DreamHack Masters Fall. And what better way can we possibly cap it off than to get to the conclusion, potentially, of a hell of a series that we've been witnessing. Rotterdam Mcanning is currently up 2-0 against Future. Can he be stopped?
Well, normally I'd say yes, but the way that these games have been going, I'd almost tend to say no. I mean, Mcanning is winning, but he's just clearly looking like the better player as well, which, I mean, we went over it in the pre-show. Like 9-10 minutes into the game, I actually believe if Mcanning is in a playable spot, he's got a really good shot at winning them. I didn't expect it to be this dominant. Like, Nate, he's not even in trouble. He sees everything, he shuts everything down, he just builds up a far superior army. And the fights that the game is leading towards, so those are not even fights, they're just slaughters. There's no other way to put it. Anyways, this is perhaps a good map for this man to turn it around. It's small, there's a lot of good aggressive builds, and that should be right up his alley. He's down 0-2, needs to turn it around. It is the future.
And the man in the Southwest, the red Protoss player leading 2-0, the people's champ, he is Mcanning.
This is definitely one of the maps I'm a bit worried about, though, for Mcanning. Like, Pillars of Gold, obviously a big map. I think it's pretty decent for his style. I think it's hard for Future to really bring the fury and power with his two base builds. Eternal Empire is a macro game where I do think Future had a cool build, and I actually think that he got what he was looking for in the beginning. But I was like, all right, where do we go next? And I felt that the combination of Bio, Thors, and a couple tanks, I think that's pretty good. But then he's like, no, you know what? Let's donate 3 Thors in the natural. I'm like, what? And what now? And he's like, well, nothing, I guess. I'm just going to build Marines and Marauders. I'm like, what? It just didn't go anywhere, Nate.
Nothing else. Literally just Marines and Marauders. Don't need anything else. Just crank them out, bring it out. And did not, hasn't worked this series. And I should probably change sprays. Do you agree, Kevin, with this analysis?
I don't know what his spray is. Is his spray? Oh, the easy
It's the easy peasy with the flame. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's kind of like one of those lower back tattoos for himself, right? That's what he's got going on. The series has been pretty easy for Mcanning, all things said and done, when you look at the 2-0 score.
That is really funny. It's good to see Future can still have such a good time. I mean, I'm definitely a bit sad though, because like I love Mcanning and I'm happy to see the can do well. This is all fantastic. It's just great for StarCraft overall, but I also love Future, such a talented young player who really showed us what he's capable of, but he is just not playing his best StarCraft at the moment, maybe not throughout this entire tournament, and I do hope at least he can turn it around and can give us some of that, you know, that Future multi-prong aggression that we know him for, that in-your-face kind of Terran, Nate, because we do know this kid has great micro and has good multitasking. It's just he's a bit stubborn when it comes to the strategies.
Yeah, and that's what makes this interesting, right? We've just had such a weird series. This Reaper in the bunker behind the natural, but Mcanning's been largely unfazed by the aggression that's been thrown out, right? We've had some weirdness already in this series with things put in strange places, but I'm looking at this game, watching the situation break down, and I'm just really curious to see if Future is going to decide this game to lean a little bit more on his tech, because I feel, and by tech, I don't mean Thors, okay? Just to be very clear. I'd like to see him lean on Liberators or something else, right? Like, if he just, looking at the way, it's just been too much bio, right? Like, this isn't 2012. You can't just win every game with Marines and Marauders. Tons of units have been added in just to kill clumps of those units.
Exactly. And then tons of units have been added to deal with units that are good against the clumps of units. Anyways, we see a Dark Shrine being wiped in the main base. That Reaper is going to have a relatively tough time, I think, in getting in there. Good news for Future, though, is that he's opening up with the Raven. Nate, I honestly think this is going to be a very straightforward game where Future just wants to win on 2 bases with a whole bunch of units. And Mcanning, of course, he's going to try to drag this one out. Now, there was still a probe in the bottom right side that just got taken out by the Reaper. And even though that probe did not warp in a pylon, you got to ask yourself, if you're Future, why was that probe still there? Like, what was the purpose of that probe?
Yeah, good question. Was he hiding something? Is there something that I missed? Those are the kinds of things you can put a little bit of fear into the Terran player with those random units that are out there. It's kind of like if you ever send, I mean, I'm just going to give all the Protoss players a little pro tip there. Terrans pay a lot of attention to the angle that your probe approaches their base from, right? Like you kind of have an idea of which direction the probe is supposed to come from if it was sent straight from the other base. But in a kind of similar way, if you just send your probe around the third base and have it come from the left side, there's a 100% chance the Terran's going to spend extra time scouting over there for something that's been proxied, possibly all the way to the corner of the map. Like you can't devalue the impact of like the little mind games that you can do in an important series like this.
Well, I feel pretty good about the futurist chances in this game, to be honest. He scouted the Dark Shrine as well, got in there with the Reaper Heli, and even though they didn't really get any economic damage done, should not take too much damage from DTs, and it should allow him to make a proper push with the Raven. And Dark Shrines are not that expensive, Nate, but it still all adds up, and it makes your actual Protoss army a little bit weaker. I really do have the feeling that Future is playing the kind of game that he wants to play. I don't know if we're going to see 2 more barracks before the 3rd command center, but this has to be good for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, Mcanning sees that Raven, and that you can't just try to, you can't try to force this, right? There's absolutely no way that that's going to work if you try to just drop the DT and YOLO it. And maybe he's trying to distract him. He's like, you don't have anything fast enough to catch me, but that is also stupidly risky. Keep the Prism alive, wait for the opportunity to strike. If he wants to attack, he's going to need that Raven, especially, you know, so the opportunity will eventually present itself, or Mcanning's going to be allowed to just power that economy out freely with no attack coming his way. I think he's got the Adept out front too. There's something that's watching in case he does try to leave his base.
All right, War Prism was kind of flying in just to scare Mcanning a little bit and see if there are any units. And auto turret gets baited out. Second auto turret as well. Oh my!
Oh, okay. Well,
wow, that's sick. Because I really did not expect him to actually have enough DPS to take that Prism down there. That is some clutch decision making by Future, realizing that he actually is able to take care of that Prism.
I did not think that he was going to kill the Warp Prism. I was like, the idea there, of course, is that you just want to bait the energy so that they can't use Interference Matrix on your Colossus or your Sentry, whatever. They don't have energy, right? That's what the Raven's resource is. That's how it gets its value out. That's its utility. So we'll just have to see. This is a massive push, though. Does he have what he needs to stop this outside of his third? Charge is close. Thermal
it's not about charge.
Almost halfway.
I think it's mostly about the Colossi, right? Like, there is a Colossus, and that is going to be very nice. There is still 1 Raven available. Drops an Interference Matrix. Force Fields will buy time for Colossus number 2 to show up, and above all, the Interference Matrix to run out. Now Future is going to try to run towards the other end, but there are still a couple Force Fields available. I almost think Future should pick up and go into the main base, Nate.
Yeah, well, this is the only thing that he doesn't have an immediate response ready for, right? Like the Colossus can walk up, but it's not like he's got a million Blink Stalkers. There is still that one Colossus in the main. He's trying to get the Disruptor out, but Kev, you were talking about it. There's the big push. Mind you, there is another small force being rallied to the third from the north side of Mcanning's base. It's not going to be as simple as fighting one army at a time in this situation. Even that one, actually, the Colossus getting aggroed by the single Marauder.
I don't know what that blink was, but that's not the blink that Mcanning needed. Perhaps taking care of that fight that's happening on the top side of the map. He did leave a couple of units behind, but this Protoss army in the main base is really not that powerful anymore. Colossus goes down, Disruptor goes down as well. Future gets out of there. Mcanning lives, but it's not by a whole lot.
Yeah, the third base is still under fire. He hasn't lost workers here yet, and he does have the shield battery to help back up that photon cannon. He overcharges the battery. Maybe a little bit concerned. He really didn't want to lose the cannon there. Just wants to keep that defense alive, of course. It's only energy to save the building. But I have to say, Viking production is underway. I just keep my eyes on the tech. I'm like, when is Future going to build units that aren't Marines and Marauders? And Vikings are going to be nice against the Colossi.
Yep.
But this isn't the fastest third base ever. He still feels a little bit of pressure, needs to get work done. The supply is very nice, but a lot of it is in medevacs. The bio army feels a lot smaller than the last time he tried to make this attack work.
Yep, but there's also only a single Colossus this time. Now, this game is about to get a little hectic because there is a DT running towards the third phase of Future, and that mineral line is very exposed, so you're going to see the dead SCPs rack up real soon, and that is probably going to give Future the idea he really needs to make more magic happen here. So far, not really happening yet.
Not having +1, I think, hurts Mcanning a lot. That Dark Templar is only taking 99% of the health of the SCVs when it attacks. So the one armor upgrade on the SCVs is preventing the DT from clearing out. I think he could have killed way more than he got, but at the same time, he is doing his best to defend. If he can keep the power units alive, that's the most important thing when you're dealing with these types of attacks from Terran, so that you can actually build an army to counter.
There's no observer. Well, there's one observer, but it's on the other side of the map. So these Widow Mines are getting good shots on these Stalkers. And Mcanning is going to use a recall from... I don't know what exactly. What did he just recall? The Observer. All right.
Yeah, he recalled the Observer to the third base because those mines getting way too much value. Only one Stalker to try and push all the Vikings back too. That's not good. Shield battery overcharged immediately, killed. Very awkward position. The only battery that's left has no energy on it, Roddy. He's gonna throw another disruptor shot out, gets one Marine for it, but there is just nothing here to kill the Vikings. It's happening so slowly. If he kills that one Colossus,
well, it's still lit, blown. The final shot of that one Viking is going to take out the second Colossus. One more Disruptor shows up. Two more Disruptors show up. I gotta say, though, for a game that feels like it kind of went bad for Mcanning, his strategy got revealed. He lost the Prism. He is still doing an absolutely amazing job in hanging in there. I don't think this one is going to go his way. But then again, can I really doubt Mcanning when he's got 3 Disruptors to work with?
And he is once again going for his favorite thing to do, which is right-click DTs into the opponent's base that, for some strange reason, never die. But we'll see. Maybe this time. Yeah, there is a turret and a sensor tower, but he doesn't have units there. There's no bunker. There's no mines. So if Future gets a little distracted trying to micro that big doom drop, things could get ugly. I wish he had gone for the third here. The natural is actually covered.
Mcanning actually has quite a bit of money. I'd love to see maybe a second robo. I know it feels scary when you're under this much pressure, but just gateway units are not really going to make the difference. I know he loves them DTs, but I feel like a second robo would really come in super handy. Some extra observers, an extra immortal to be like the backline of your army. His army is not bad though. I think near shield batteries, he should be fine. The problem is what happens if we're not near a shield battery.
Yeah. He is really, really hounding the map with those DTs, though. He has forced out a silly number of scans, got some work done on the SCVs in that fourth base he's trying to secure. But Mcanning, you do expect to see the Protoss take those bases a little bit faster than the Terrans in these situations, so he needs to get that Nexus up. But as you've talked about, Future just has this massive army that's been putting out so much pressure. He blinks forward into it, trying to use the Disruptors, gets the Ghosts! 2 of them at least with that shot, not bad at all.
Definitely not bad. Future is desperately looking for an opening, but he's not really finding the opening. And Mcanning is once again just hanging in there, and he's starting to find more SCV kills with his super random Dark Templars. I didn't know that this was a strategy, Nate, where you just warp in DTs at home, and one by one they connect to mineral lines. Future has a bigger army, but it doesn't really feel like it. And it also feels like an army that just needs to run away for now, because those Disruptors are scary.
Yes, they are. Another Purification Nova is going to go out. The Ghosts have been cleared from this army. I think the big concern, though, is the reinforcements coming in from the east. He's completely surrounded, and the Colossus is dead. It's just a bunch of Stalkers. He recalls the Disruptors, but only 2 of them make it through the Bifrost back home.
Yep, very well done there by Future. He actually gave Mcanning the idea that that was it, that was his entire force. And Mcanning's like, wait a minute, I think I can actually fight that. And all of a sudden, the reinforcements show up from the right side. What I don't understand, though, is why Future is wasting time right now. It's like, mate, we know what you're good at, and this is kind of it. Let's go. I guess you don't want to take damage from DTs, but he shouldn't wait. He just took out so many robo units, Nate. Why wouldn't you keep the pressure on?
Yeah, I won't lie though. I feel what you were saying earlier about the second robotics facility. It feels like he's had the money to operate it for a little bit, but leaning very heavily on the gateway units is just scary because there's so much bio. That is Future's thing. He has a crazy amount of Marine Marauder, but if he was able to get that Disruptor Colossus count back up, I think that's what the saving grace has been for him, right? He's just gotten these crazy powerful armies that have been really, really well controlled. But if Future can maintain a supply lead like this, then I'm scared. I'm scared because this supply from Mcanning, the Disruptors need to make the greatest shots of all time to clear this one out, I feel.
Yep, one did go down there. Like, this is definitely the moment. After Future just won such a big fight, either he would have just attacked immediately or he should have gone for a double drop in the main base. Look what's in the main base right now. It's so naked. There's nothing there. A single cannon. Like, when you have this much of a supply advantage with your simple buy units, you want to stretch your opponent thin. You want to go for multi-prong. Like, fighting straight up against 5 disruptors, even if you have 50 supply more, is pretty difficult because engaging disruptors is just really hard.
Very true. Very true. That's the key strength of the disruptor, right? It creates these zones you need to absolutely stay away from, and it's not like a little bit of a punch. It's a straight up cut your head off. He blinks 2 DTs past the front bunker. Oh, the reaction time from Future is perfect to get back in there and deal with it. Morphs him into an Archon. At the same time, he's going to try to engage the army while he's distracted with that. And I don't know that he got quite the hits he was looking for. Got a couple of them, but...
That second one was good, Thor. That second one, I think, was very good. The problem is Future has so many more units that even 1 or 2 big hits are not really going to make the difference. Good job there by the American Terran player avoiding these Novas. Finally, one does connect with a couple of Marauders, but I think the firepower of this Terran army is just a little bit too much. It really did not come easy as one more Disruptor comes in from the back. A big Nova in the center. No, good job picking it up, but oh my goodness, even with an 80 supply advantage, Future is struggling and closing this game out, man.
Mcanning is bringing that disruptor control to the people. Oh my god, I cannot believe that this game has gone on as long as it has. And by all accounts, I think Mcanning is still dead in this game, but for some strange reason, he has been able to stretch this all the way. It's a good game by Future, though. I will say we didn't get to see it in this game, but I had my eyes on that production tab, Kev. He did add 2 starports. He did add a fusion core. He was getting ship weapons. So yeah. I feel like Future's kind of realizing he's like, I'm going to need to leave like 2 Widow Mines at every base of the turret for these DTs. And I'm going to get Liberators at the end of the game, I think, this time.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, because I feel like if there was one game where he didn't really need to go into double starport with advanced ballistics, like it's this one. He got the best fight ever in the center. He got a really good start overall, because that prism snipe, like I feel like that is already a turning moment in this game. I have to admit that's a crazy call by Future, that he really felt like he could have gotten that. I don't think that he was gonna get that prism. I was like, he just wasted 2 turns. You need the energy for the interference matrix on the other side of the map to disable the Colossus. But brilliant call, got the prism. From that point on, it really felt like this is his game. He scouted DT tech, he takes out the prism, and he's got the 1 unit that's good against the only strong unit on Mcanning's side. This is going to be it, right? And it sort of was it, but geez Louise, Nate, did it take a lot out of Future to close out that game?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of pressure that Mcanning is able to put on Future, even when Future is winning the game. And he's just like, I can't really dive on this. I have to be careful. I've kind of got to hang back. There's not really any easy way for me to just kill somebody that has 5 or 6 disruptors. And that map is also just really hard too, with how easy it was for him to jump in and out of that main base in the early stage when he was bringing that attack. But oh man, yeah, man, this is exhausting.
It is exhausting, but I still think if you're an Mcanning fan of Mcanning, I don't think you have to be that worried yet, Nate. Like, you're still up to 1, of course. That is fantastic. But above all, Everdream is the smallest map we're going to play in this best of 5. And even with a build that's been revealed, even when you're in a tough scenario, he still put up one hell of a fight. Things should only get better from here. And if I'm this man, I'm definitely still very concerned with my tournament life on the line. But he did just bring it back a little bit. Our American Terran player, it is Future.
And in the top left, we have the red Protoss player. He is Mcanning. Probe scout going out. Gonna try and gather some information. And this series, man, this series is delivered. This has been real good.
I think we're going to see another Thor rush.
No. I have a strange feeling that we will literally never see that again. Well, Terran versus a Protoss.
I still love the opening. I love the fact that he kept Mcanning on 2 bases. Like, I actually really liked where it was going. I just didn't like where it ended.
Yeah. Well, it was like, hey, I'm gonna do this cool thing. Oh, look at that. The counter sprays over right next to Mcanning sprays. I mean, Mcanning does a really good job of spreading his sprays out, right? So they all individually have their own space, but you can see that Future was in a rush to put his sprays down. That's my
That probe. Actually, the probe might go down. I think that probe.
boxing champion SCVs.
I feel like if he would have sent his SCV towards the top there immediately, I think that probe would have always gone down. And I think that's kind of nice, but obviously that would have meant a small delay on the command center.
Is it worth 50? Is it worth killing the probe? That's
I think
the
so.
ultimate question. Yes, it's always worth killing the probe.
Mhm.
Killing the probe early on is more of a mental victory for yourself than anything else. It doesn't really matter if it's worth it. Any Terran player will tell you, you play 20% better if you kill the probe at the start of the game.
Mate, if a Reaper kills a probe, I'm already upset. If a Reaper kills a probe and gets out of there, I'm super upset. If the Reaper kills my scouting probe and a probe in the main base and gets out of there, I leave the game.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. If a probe kills the SCV building the barracks, you're on mega tilt for the rest of your life. If the probe somehow gets the next SCV that you pull, then you just leave. That is the play.
Ooh, Hellion drop, perhaps? I feel like this is a Hellion drop opening.
Yeah. We hardly see proxied starports without it being this build, right?
Oh,
These
Future has a
days.
mistake. Sorry, Nate, but there is one SCV that looks like it's mining from his top gas, but it's actually not mining from his top gas. It's just chilling behind the refinery. Oh no, Future, you need to fix this, my friend.
Rip. Well, he's like, I'm just inspecting the back here. I gotta check the serial number on this refinery to make sure it's working correctly. No, that was a mistake.
I mean, that's a really... It's gonna mess up the build quite a bit, I feel like. I mean, a lot of these builds are really tight. 2 Hellions are revealed by the Adept. The Adept gets recalled, and the Adept does make its way home safely. I think at this point, if you're Mcanning, you're like, 2 Hellions. I know that these nerds love 2 Hellion drop. So I don't think I'm gonna get too adventurous with my Phoenix. I'm just gonna check around, see if I can find that starport. This would be a massive scout for Mcanning, and Nate, I think he's going to find it.
Looks like it. He's headed straight in the direction of it. Gonna see all Hellions. Gonna see that medevac. And this is really big too, because I think with the one Phoenix here, if he rallies the next one to it with the attack wall move, he should. I don't know. Can he just deny it? Okay, well the one Phoenix didn't follow, so that makes it awkward.
I still don't think you're going to take that much damage here. Right, the Adepts are in the main as well. Is he going for the double lift then on the Hellions? Okay, he really wanted to get that medevac. He's going to just live 1 Hellion for now. Only 2 probes have gone down. Might lose 1 more. Not even that, I think. Oh my god.
Wow.
This is insane. Normally we see Protoss players lose 7, 8, 9, 10 probes against this. 2 probes is amazing for Mcanning.
Yo, that is fantastic too. And the other thing is, I don't think he's going to run into the Viking necessarily unless he keeps moving, but the starport, of course, is going to be a little bit out of the question for the time being. He did send the Viking home. Very smart. Wants to have a little bit of support for the Cyclone.
What I also love is that Mcanning immediately goes up to 3 bases. He's like, hey, I know that this is a proper investment coming out of the Terran player. 4 Hellions, proxy starport, let's get it on. I'm going to go up to 3 bases, even though all I have is gateway units and Phoenixes. I think that's a brilliant call. What a start for Mcanning. I mean, Nate, this is where I feel like it's starting to get really real. Mcanning may very well break into the top 6 of this tournament.
It would certainly be the fulfillment of an epic prophecy of StarCraft magic. That's the only way that I can describe it. Truly something amazing to brighten everybody's days would be Mcanning realizing that beautiful, beautiful limitless potential of his. And that 3rd base coming in, like you said, at a really good time. He knows these builds slow everything down that Terran players want to do. And Future built a 3rd command center, Kevin, pretty early for Future especially, right? With a double engineering base, so he's chilling. He is hanging back because that attack did not do what it needed to.
No, but I do like to see that actually, because I have the feeling that after you proxy a starport, you lose 4 Hellions, you lose the medevac. Like whatever push you may have in mind of 2 bases, it's kind of going to be a sorry excuse for a push. Like it's just not going to be that intimidating, and then you lose. So even if his strength may not be in the triple command center builds, this was absolutely the best thing he could do. He's still gonna get a whole bunch of bio out. This game is obviously nowhere near over. Economically, you can even say it's pretty decent for Future. But I do think that game 1 and especially game 2 really displayed to us that if the game goes on and Mcanning gets all the robo units out that he likes, Future is going to have a very tough time dismantling that.
Yeah, his control has just been absolutely amazing, especially with those disruptors and, you know, to a slightly lesser degree, the Blink Stalkers. Like, he's made some good moves with them. I think a lot of what happened or went wrong in the last game had to do with the Stalkers in that main base, kind of blinking straight into the bio without that one Colossus that kind of got baited by the Marauder that ran into the natural while he was still in the main. Like, there were a couple awkward things that happened, but I generally like this this game for Mcanning the longer it goes.
I mean, look at the map vision. The mini-map is a work of art. Mcanning sees so much already, all the stuff he needs to see. He knows Future likes to drop. I have the feeling that Future is gearing up for just a massive 2-2 push with Ghosts, right? Like a whole bunch of tanks, Ghosts, EMPs, 2-2 bio upgrades, and that's it. Tournament live on the line.
Yeah, that's why I think so. I think that's not a bad play at all. You can't let Mcanning just do whatever he wants to do. So, is the armory already done, Kevin?
It's a good question, Nathanias. The answer is no, it is not.
Okay, so he doesn't have one in production. So maybe he's gonna push with the enhanced shockwaves upgrade and 1-1. Maybe that's his plan. Just go for the Ghost EMP and then try to push with that.
67
really
SCVs. I guess you're onto something there, but that's so weird though. Did you really need double eBay if that's your plan?
No, you did not. No, that's a mistake, for sure. But it's a, that's a common mistake, right? Like, if there's one thing that you're like, what does every Terran player always screw up? Like, nobody ever builds their armory on time. We consider that a skill to build your armory on time.
No, I just think of Hero Marine telling everybody, it's like, oh, I never forget my armory. My armories are earlier than my eBays. That's how good I am.
That is worth bragging about, honestly. It's that bad. It's like the old days when people were like, why don't you just build a Viking to kill all the overlords? And everyone's like, it's not possible. You can't do it. And then Bolt does it once and everyone's like, it's the best thing ever. Why doesn't everybody do it? Good catch on the Cyclone here, because the Viking too, as inconsequential as that may seem, the Viking is going to be needed versus the Colossus. So
well, Nate, it seems like it's a no armory push. It's just a 1-1 bio push. The tank count is pretty good, though. Like 5 tanks is something that you truly do have to respect. I like that scan there by Future. You don't want to run into a disruptor. This is going to be it, man. Tournament live on the line for Future. This push needs to be a success, or I feel he is going to be eliminated. He spots the Protoss army. There are a couple of Zealots already set up. One Nova is going to connect with the tanks. Doesn't kill the tanks, Nate, but definitely deals a lot of damage.
yeah, I mean, every little bit does count though, right? That's almost 2 volleys basically for the Zealot now to kill it if it can charge onto that. But with this spread out siege, it's not going to get any easier. Still needs to be really, really careful about the positioning. Don't lose the sentries up front. The force fields are still going to be nice. Even with the threat of EMP on the field, you still need to have all of those tools as carefully curated as you can. And the siege tanks will be difficult to deal with on the outer edge of the space. Is he just baiting EMPs onto his Phoenix?
I don't know if he was baiting. I think he was looking for a lift as well. Good catch there by Future. Spots those Zealots on the top right side. So these Zealots are going to get taken out. And that was the flank squad, Nate. And no, he's definitely not on siege all of his tanks. He on siege like 4 out of 5. The tanks need to get a little bit closer. Mcanning is definitely feeling the pressure. He's sitting on a lot of money, Nate. Will Mcanning survive and will he potentially send himself into the top 6? I gotta say, this looks like a gnarly parent push though.
This is going to be very difficult to hold for Mcanning. He's starting to come out a little bit, takes a little bit of a poke, throws the disruptor shot, gets some bio with a tank, and that's going to trigger Future to go dive in. He thinks he might be out of shots. EMP hits center mass on that army, but we do have the overcharged shield battery to restore those shields on the rest of the units. I mean, he's a 4-base Protoss. He's in absolutely no rush to charge into the fight, but he does need to find a way to dismantle this siege line outside of his base.
There's no anti-air. There are 4 Phoenix, 2 Stalkers, but I don't know where these Phoenixes are. Now Zealots are coming in from the bottom. Nathanias, this is it. Does Mcanning have enough?
The Zealots get a pretty good surround, but on the south side, they do get cleaned up. There's still 2 siege tanks alive, but all of the Colossi are going down. One of them is going to be able to make it back towards that 3rd base. However, as you were saying, that anti-air, it is quite awkward. There's still 2 Vikings, the Colossus and Red Health. Great disruptor shot, though, pushes the rest of the army back, and Mcanning trying to get the grip on this game once more.
There's only a single Colossi there. I feel like the Vikings should have ignored that Phoenix and just go for that Colossus. There was a battery overcharge. I think it's good enough for Mcanning. He's sitting at 84 probes if Future goes home, and he's building an armory right now, Nate. All the tanks have been taken care of. Obviously, a new tank did show up, but this was not good enough for Future. He needs more. He's behind in upgrades already, and he lost the majority of his stack units. I feel like if he keeps pushing, he still has a shot. If Future goes home, I think he's going to lose.
Yeah, this is the worst case scenario because he doesn't have to replace all the Colossi. Even just having that one there was so significant, so important. And he still has that core of disruptors too. He's just done such a good job at maintaining that. And this army from Future looks a lot less scary than the last time. Really, it was really all about the tanks taking out the disruptors. They are the best unit for kind of deterring that, and he has not been able to take advantage of it. It was such a gutsy call when he made that move with the Zealots, especially after the first wave of them got grabbed. But here we go. The Stalkers take a couple of free shots at the Vikings before the tanks are able to siege outside the base.
Alright, the tank count is going up again a little bit. Mcanning is even expanding at 9 o'clock here on the left side of Future's army, but I don't know if that's really that important. BTs have started to show up, but they're not really getting anything done yet. Good job by Future, having turrets everywhere, having a bunker as well with a couple of fire units. Mcanning is going to go down the red, Nate. He wants to get big shots off, and he does land a couple of Novas on top of the 2 tanks of Future. I gotta say, Future's macro pretty good this game. He's maxed out again. I do think, though, that he needs more tanks, or he needs something that's good against disruptors. Otherwise, he ain't winning the straight-up fights.
No, I mean, look at the medevac energy, too, Kev. It's all drained. The bio is starting to resemble a pack of Skittles. You've got mixed health ranges across the board. Every time this army stims, it's going to be irreplaceable hit points for this force. The Vikings are trying to shoot from the dead space zone, so that's not too bad either. But Zealot flank is going to be coming in from the right side. If he can't dislodge the tanks, it's still going to be tricky. Oh my God. Well, that's Mcanning DTs for you, babe. Jumps onto the bunker, hacking and whacking and smacking. But if he loses all of these, it's still going to be kind of rough. That's still
yeah, that's Mcanning is eating so many tank shots at home. That one Colossus is still barely alive. I'm actually starting to get a bit worried here for Mcanning. Like, yeah, killing 15 SCVs is nice, but at this point, I feel like that just makes the Terran army even bigger. Future wants to end this game. He's still down to upgrades. He starts to do right now as he's maxed out. Nate, that Colossus really feels like a sitting duck. At this point, there are 8 Stalkers on the map. That's it. A lot of Zealots coming in from both sides, though. Mcanning is going for it.
He's going to try to get the big surround on this army. Purification Nova is going to go out. The siege tanks have been dealt with. There's a tremendous number of immortals with this army. Important to point out, storms from the north. This bio army is so weak. Oh my God.
Disruptors on the left, and High Templars coming in from the top side is going to make this. I mean, this Terran army is so beat up. There is no energy on these medevacs, like you just said, and that's just getting worse. A forward blink into the tank, and Mcanning looks at the HP of this army, and he's like, I'm not worried about it. I believe I can take this fight. He's up in upgrades. He's 3 upgrades up even, Nate. Zealots and Stalkers are going to be powerful enough here, and Mcanning is pushing Future back.
Absolutely beautiful control from Mcanning. Once again, punishing the position of that sieged army, and we're really just seeing how poorly this force for Future performs when he is forced to constantly be stimming those disruptors. They serve that secondary purpose. They don't just do damage directly. They force you to make mistakes. They force you to constantly burn the medevac energy by stimming every couple seconds.
DT
oh my God! He set up he preset a SCV flank.
That's a hit. All of the SCVs running away from DTs is something. I don't really know what they were doing there, but 24 SCVs have just gone down. I really think that Future just completely forgot his armory in this game. It feels like he wanted to play a more well-upgraded bio style. But he was taking those previous fights, Nate, being down 3 upgrades, now being down 4 upgrades before 2-2 finishes up. Yeah, how do you win those kind of fights?
I don't know that you do, Kev. I've seen some famous gifs on the internet of +3 armor zealots fighting 1-1 bio, and literally none of them dying. So I certainly believe that if you fall behind in upgrades in this matchup, you are in for a rough time. He scans next to the unfinished missile turret, then EMPs. These DTs have really been a thorn in his side. Almost killed that orbital too. And how many scans does a man have in this situation if the DTs keep coming? Well, I guess he's got a lot of ghosts.
On 33 SCVs, Nate, I'd say not that many. There are High Templars set up everywhere to land storms. I think this is Mcanning's moment of glory. That's a Nova.
Another one. He's making it rain on this bio army with those disruptors. Just blew up 40 supply of Marines and Marauders in a heartbeat. Templar Zealous getting worked in on the north side to help cover for this while the army repositions, but it just seems to be a little bit too late for this Force of Future to be able to take him down. The Colossi blasting away the disruptors, blowing him up. GG, good luck comes out. Mcanning wins 3-1.
It's so cool to see
Holy
these
crap.
player cams. Look at how